Hello all, welcome. It's Jennifer McCollum from the Parent Coach Club, and I have the fabulous parent coach Hayley Wisner with me today. Hello, Hayley.
Hi.
Hayley's coming to us all the way from Las Vegas. So the town of excitement and lights and never-ending parent problems, right?
Yes.
I am sure you are highly needed there. I want to tell you a little bit about Hayley, and then I'm going to let Hayley tell you a little bit about herself. So as I said, Hayley is a parent coach, and she specializes in helping frustrated moms get through to their teens. Hands up. Anybody need that? Yeah. I think if you could see it, Hayley, probably everybody's hands are up right now. She works with these moms so that the kids, the teens, can stop having problems in school, and so that they really keep their sanity at home. Hayley has a master's degree and license in social work, and I think that's incredible. I want you to tell us more about the work that you've done. You've worked as a mental health professional since 2011, and you have lots of experience. So Hayley, I'm going to put it over to you to tell us a little bit more about that. And then Hayley, you're going to come back and you're going to tell us the 3 steps. You're not going to want to miss this. The 3 steps to help us moms stop yelling and start connecting with our teens. So Hayley, welcome. Tell us about your work.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. I'm so excited to be here today and just kind of talk to everyone about some of these strategies that I've learned throughout my time as working as a mental health professional, as you mentioned. So yeah, I really spent the last several years in a middle school setting here in Las Vegas. So I was the mental health professional / social worker person there at the school. And it was kind of crazy, but it was definitely, very rewarding because I got to work with kids that I really enjoy working with. I feel like I really connect well with teenage age group. So the kids at the school were anywhere from around 11 to 15 years old there. And I was just really working with them to kind of help improve their behavior at the school. So any of the kids that were really struggling or having a hard time, they would turn to me to see how I could help them. And I ended up actually meeting a lot of their parents in that process and helping them as well. So that's kind of a little bit of my background. And then I have worked in some other settings. Like I was working in a mental health hospital for a little while, which was kind of crazy, but I got to see a lot of things there and experience just a lot of things there with adults and kids having mental health issues and as well. So those are kind of like my 2 big things in my background where I've worked with teens.
Well, you really had hands-on experience, didn't you? Dealing with the middle years. So what like before we get started on you really telling us about these 3 steps, can you tell me, because I'm super curious, what were some of the issues that these kids were coming to you about?
A lot of them differed, but it was similar through some of the same things. There's a lot of different pressures nowadays with kids in school with the technology. That was a huge issue in the schools themselves, or some like bullying issues that I came across as well there. As well as just like some pretty low self-esteem. That was like a theme I noticed a lot among not just girls, but the boys too, who usually will do anything to like mask that sort of thing. But once I kind of was talking to them and got them opened up, you could really tell that, you know, these boys are struggling with their self-esteem as well. So that was kind of a really big thing that I noticed that was similar across a lot of teens that I worked with in the school setting.
Yeah, and they probably all tied together too, right? Like the lack of self-esteem, um, I feel has increased since the increase of availability of tech. So our kids are all walking around with phones and they're comparing themselves and they're waiting for likes and comments, and then that's when also the bullying can happen. It doesn't stop when you get home. You have it 24/7. So it probably all fits together. So I can see how valuable your position would have been in the schools.
Yeah, yeah, and it's crazy to think how highly they valued their presence on social media. So if there was any sort of like negative comment made, well, then that was directly, you know, a hit towards themselves that they would take personally, even though, you know, I would sit there and say, why do you care about what this kid commented? But to them it's a huge
Hmm.
deal. So
Yeah, I
yeah, and
know.
that created a lot of problems in the school.
I know. I said that to my kids too. Like, why do you even care? And then I thought,
Right.
I think we all care. Like, of course you care. And especially when your brain hasn't fully developed yet, you do really care. This is a huge deal. You know what else I love,
Right.
Haley, is that you connected with the parents. So how did that work?
Yeah, so a lot of times when I was talking to the kids, if they express to me, you know, my family is in like a tough situation at home, I would try to reach out to them to see what, you know, assistance or help I could provide that way. Or a lot of times when kids would come to me with mental health concerns, like, you know, feelings of suicide or depression, or really bad maybe like anxiety kind of issues, or even maybe some like mood things, just it depended. That was when I would always get the parents involved at that point to just to kind of educate them. And that's what I noticed as well, is that a lot of times parents aren't actually aware of all of the different, you know, facets of mental health. So
Hmm.
that was really helpful for me to be able to kind of, you know, steer them in like the next step. Okay, so this is what happened, and here's, you know, what we can do now,
Hmm.
sort of thing.
I love that you have the experience both with the kids and with the parents. So now you've come to us today to walk us through 3 steps to help us stop yelling and start connecting with our kids. And I love that you have the educational background, you have the experience working with the tweens and teens and with the parents. So I know this comes highly researched. So tell us, Haley, what is the number one step for us to take if we find that we are yelling more and connecting less with our teens?
Yeah, so I'm really excited to share these tips with you that I came up with, just because and a lot of time with me talking to the teens, they would express to me, you know, my parent just doesn't understand me, or you know, I just don't, you know, I don't understand why they're yelling at me. There seemed to be kind of like a disconnect there. So oftentimes I found myself being kind of like the bridge in that relationship, to try to kind of get the parents to understand where the teens are coming from, and the
Mhm.
teens to understand where the parents are coming from. So yeah, so I created these 3 steps. And the first one that I want to share with you guys is just kind of reviewing the language that you're using, and the tone that their language is setting off. So just like anyone, if um, even if my like fiance comes and says something to me with, you know, maybe some more negative words, or in like kind of like a impatient way, I'm not going to really listen to what he's asking of me. So same thing with kids. They're sometimes they're just going to shut off immediately if the question is, not worded in a positive way, or if they think immediately that, they're upset, my parents are upset with me. So just kind of like reviewing that language that you have, when you're starting to approach your team, it would be, I would say, like the number one thing to look out for. And just, if you do notice it, ask yourself, okay, what can I do to change this language to be a little more positive, a little more supportive in a way.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely guilty of that. So like hands up to, yes,
Mhm.
I've done that. And when you sent me these steps originally, it came at such a great time, because one of my kids had said to me like, that was a really disrespectful way to say that. And I thought, you are right. Like that wasn't a nice way to say that. And in my head, I'm thinking, I'm busy. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I just said it in a way that, yeah, I really need to stop and think about the words I'm using, the tone I'm using, and what's coming across to them. Is because I'm, busy in my work, is that coming across that I'm impatient and don't have time for them? So I love your number one step. I think it could be even on its own the step, but you have two more steps. So tell us the second step.
Yeah. And so then the second step that I want to talk about is really kind of noticing your expectations, right? So we all set expectations around how we expect other people to act, and especially with parents, they're setting expectations for how they want their kids, how they expect their kids to react, to behave, to complete things, right? So if sometimes we may be expecting too much of them but not realizing it, right? So asking yourself, could what I'm expecting of my teen right now be done at a later time, right? Like, does it have to be done? Is it that important that it's done right now, or could I work with my team to try to figure out, a later time for them to complete it? So being flexible, like with your expectations of your teams, and noticing when they're kind of overwhelmed, seeing what you can do to help them meet your expectation. Like, can you, help them? Maybe they're behind on their chores, or maybe they're behind on their homework. So maybe ask yourself, what can you do to help them with that? Or how can they meet the expectation in a timely
Yep, guilty again. Thanks, Haley.
manner?
But this is so good. And even though, like, I know, like, expectations, right? What are my expectations? I talk about it a lot. I think about it a lot. And then you need to make your bed right now and get your homework done, not 10 minutes from now. What is that doing? Like, I'm glad that you could just bring it to the forefront that we need to kind of check ourselves and our expectations. What can be put on hold? Why is it that they're not making their bed? There might be a really good reason, and just stopping and connecting with them before saying, no, it's got to be done in the next 5 minutes, no and if or buts, is
Mhm.
probably the best thing to do. Connect first and figure out together how to move forward so that the next day you're not arguing about the same thing. You've got clear expectations.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't want to be left having your expectations, not met, because then that in turn like makes us angrier, right? So then we're coming across with kind of like an angry attitude, which helps us to become more yelling, right? Well, that makes us yell more. So if you're just looking at the expectations and um, just maybe lowering them a little bit, to see how your team can then meet them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really good strategy.
That is such great advice. Thank you so much. Now you've got one more step for us. It's a good one. So tell us, number 3.
Yes, and so this is I think is a really important step to notice, when if you do notice yourself yelling or getting angry with your team, is just kind of checking in with yourself, right? Asking yourself, am I operating from a full or an empty cup right now? Am I um, am I stressed from a really bad day at work? Is there, something going on in my personal life that I'm now taking my anger out on my team, right? So asking yourself, just, have you taken time for yourself lately? Like, when was the last time you had some you time, some like downtime? And if you notice yourself, like I said, kind of operating from that empty cup level, just asking, okay, if I come back to the situation a little more level-headed later when I'm not as angry, will this be better for
Mhm.
me and for my team? Just asking yourself, okay, is it time for me to walk away and take a minute for myself and then come back? Because it's really important that parents take care of themselves too. So if they're not, you can kind of see that coming out, maybe in a snappier tone than when they're talking to their teen, and that could get them angrier faster.
Such great advice. We can't take care of other people if we can't take care of ourselves and if we're not feeling taken care of. I love that. And I think it's, worth maybe mentioning that as moms, I don't want to, just say moms and dads, um, sometimes it feels guilty to take time to yourself, especially when the kids are really young. Sometimes that guilt comes in like, I'm being selfish, taking care of myself. And it wasn't until recently that I realized like this is something you really have to take note and do and get
Hmm.
rid of that mom dad guilt that you do
Yeah,
need to take care of yourself and everyone's going to be happier for it. I've seen it in my home, I've seen it in many other homes, and I'm really glad that that was your third step for us.
yeah. And it's really hard too to remember that we need to also take care of ourselves. Like you said, if we're taking care of other people,
Mhm.
even people in the helping profession too, like they can't help, think about like a nurse or teachers, like they can't help those patients or those kids if they themselves are not taking time and taking time off, taking downtime for themselves. So it's the same with parents, because it's still a never-ending job, right? So um, yeah.
Yeah. And you owe it to your kids to take care of yourself. Keep
Hmm.
your cup full. So let's go over the three
Definitely.
steps. So number one was review your language,
Hmm.
right? How are you
Yeah.
talking? What's the tone? What are you saying? What are the
Yes.
kids picking up? Everything. My kids pick up everything from my tone. Number
Hmm.
two is check your expectations. So, what are your expectations? Work with your child, connect first, demand less.
Yes.
Immediately work on expectations. And then number three is check in with yourself. So make sure you're taking care of yourself and that you're operating from a full cup. And I love how you said that. So thank you so much. I do want to, Hayley, I do want to ask you about your coaching though, because I know parents are going to be interested in how your coaching works. You are in Las Vegas, but tell me, do you coach through Zoom, on the phone, or is it all in person?
Yeah, so I do actually all my coaching through Zoom, through like a virtual video chatting.
Mhm.
So I do it that way, and that way I can connect with parents anywhere as well as locally. So
Okay. And parents would connect with you if they're struggling with that connection with their teen, if they're wanting more calm in their home, and if their kids are having a tough time at school. That's definitely your expertise. What else? I know I'm missing other things too that
yeah,
you specialize in.
just if parents are wanting to really work on repairing or improving their relationship with their teen or tween kind of age, kids, just because I have the most experience with that age group. That's the kind of parents that I think I can help most, is the parents with that age group. So if they're really wanting to work on that relationship, connect with their teen more, kind of, get through to them, I can really kind of help with that. And with my experience in the school setting, if your child is struggling in school with any sort of issues, whether that be with teachers or behavioral, or getting in trouble, like getting suspended, things like that, or even bullying, I can really help with those kind of things too.
And would you work with both the parent then and the teen or tween?
Yeah, it's kind of up to the parent, what they want to do. So my coaching is geared more towards the parent, but they're more than welcome to bring their teen on a few calls with them if they want me to talk to them for a little bit, or they can use maybe like one of their calls to have their teen just talk with me if they want that. I'm willing to work with parents, just depending on their preference.
That's wonderful. And I know you offer a free 60-minute introductory call, which is huge. 60 minutes, you can talk about a lot. So
Yeah.
I'll make sure that parents have a link to where they can connect with you. They can also find you on the parentcoach.club website. But I'll make sure that they have that link to direct them right to your free 60-minute call. 60 minutes, right? Am I?
Yep. Yeah, it's
No,
one
that's
hour, and we can talk about any problem that your teen is facing, and I can try to give you some actionable steps and tips for whatever kind of problems they're facing, and that's just, yeah, like your one introductory call. Mhm.
That's wonderful. And then you can talk about the other sessions after that, what else you can provide for them and what they need. I imagine you gear it towards whatever they need and how much time they need to really sort through that connection with their, from whatever's going on with their teen or tween. I want to make
Yeah.
one note. I'm a mom of four. The two oldest are adults now, and this is so important. I can't stress this enough. And if I could turn back the clock to when they were tweens, I would start working with a parent coach, because those teen years are so important, because they set you up for the kind of relationship you want with your kids when they're adults. Like, just think of them as adults, right? And what kind of relationship do you want? You don't always want to be yelling, because that's what they're going to remember. And that connection isn't going to be there. So if I could really turn back the clock right now and I had tweens, I would definitely be calling you, any one of our parent coaches, because this is valuable, valuable tools that are lifelong, like they pay off lifelong. Think
Mhm.
about a sweet, wonderful connection with an adult child is just, I don't think there's anything better.
Yeah, and I think too that a lot of times there isn't a lot of support out there for parents with teenagers. Just personally here in the Las Vegas area, I've seen a lot of support out there for moms with younger kids.
Mhm.
But sometimes it seems that when kids get to an older age, there seems to be less, support and resources out there for those parents. So that was kind of one of the reasons that I really wanted to get into helping parents of teens, is because I noticed that kind of lack of support out there for them. So I think it's really important to seek someone out, or seek out any support if you're struggling, and you're a parent with a teenager.
That's wonderful. So reach out to Hayley. I'll put all the links below, and share this video. If you are watching right now and you know someone with a tween or a teen, share this video, because this is some good, valuable information. And a 60-minute introductory call, you cannot beat that. Thank you so much for being here, Hayley.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I hope to see you again.
Yes,
All
me
right.
too.
Thanks for sharing all your good work with us. Bye-bye.
Of course. Bye.